This video is sponsored by Typhus Gold Dual, the ultimate golden probe. 'Tis the season of giving thanks. Family time, Native Americans, not so Native Americans, powerful people virtue signaling, powerless people virtue signaling. Since I started going to school to learn history, I don't know what Thanksgiving is for anymore. However, as a wise, drunk man once said, life is a subscription and Thanksgiving is your yearly charge. Today we'll take a look at some of the most viral Thanksgiving recipes over the years, and at the end I'll show you some of my own recipes. So while watching these, let's ask the age-old question, does this influencer cook better than my mom, or am I just an ungrateful child? Don't think too hard though, cause it can give you a heart attack. I guess influencers making turkey and sides is like musicians making Christmas albums. It gets recirculated every year. So when we hear the holiday bells, all they hear is cha-ching. But anyways, look how juicy this breast is.
Welcome to episode 4 of my Thanksgiving series. Today we're tackling turkey.
It's a dry brine recipe. It's the night before cooking, so I got this whole frozen young turkey. Unfortunately, it's not frozen, not young. It's just the turkey, and it's a boy. And frozen young turkey is also a premise to my rapper name, Ice Cold Young Canoe. And we'll just salt it all over. Make sure you hit it from the side and go deep inside all in there. Don't just let it sit in the fridge overnight. You can do 2 days if you want. It's gonna be drier. In terms of the herb butter, you guys know that usually I skip the herbs and just go straight to the powder, which is also my approach to having a fun night. But today we're gonna use thyme, rosemary, oregano, and parsley because, you know, it's the holiday season, whatever. I do have a question for the rest of you though. When the herbs start turning black, can you still use them? Now, to season it according to her instructions, we'll put in a lot of Cajun seasoning and just salt and pepper. I guess it's more of a Cajun turkey then. Never in my life have I remembered to leave butter out to soften it before making a compound butter, so this is the best organic way to fasten the process. But I'm just the master of thermodynamics. And once the butter is very well combined, we'll put it back into the bowl. After I mix the butter by hand, I put it into this container only because it looks good, not because I used the machine or anything. At this point, the surface of the turkey should be very dry. This is gonna make it more tender and easier to cook. I forgot to add lemon to the butter, so I'm doing it now. To completely flavor the turkey, we gotta stuff the butter underneath the skin. And to make sure the butter is gonna properly fit, we gotta go in there, stretch it, and make it more loose. This seems a little gross and might make you uncomfortable, but trust me, the turkey suffers the most in this exchange. Also, what is this? Why would you put it there? Anyways, now we have the skin on top nice and loose. We'll start oiling it up. We'll take a little ball of butter, place it at the opening of the turkey, close the end, and spread it with the back of our hand all over the breast. You want to do this a few more times, pretty much as much butter as you can stuff underneath the skin. It's going to protect it from drying up and flavoring it at the same time. And if you find these hard pieces of butter, we'll put it in the middle of the breast so they can have these like little nipples. If you still have butter left over, we'll massage it all over the inside and out of the turkey till you start wondering, am I feeding my family a bird or are we drinking butter together? It's ready for roasting. We'll cut some aromatics for the inside and on the bottom. Roasting trays nowadays are so flimsy. I feel like it's falling apart already. The roasting tray at my parents' house is from their wedding. It withstood the testament of time and becoming the only result of their marriage that's not disappointing. With the oven on 350, we'll put it into the tray, stuff it with all the herb stem from earlier, aromatics, and half a lemon. Pouring half a cup of wine and chicken stock, it's time to get to know Typhus Gold Dual. This is the world's most stable wireless cooking device. A lot of the thermometers I've used in the past frequently disconnects when I close the oven door or wrap aluminum foil around it, but Typhus Gold has never given me any issue. One of the standout features is the smart case. You can set and monitor your cooking right on the base without ever needing your phone. For example, here I'm gonna put one probe at the thickest part of the breast and one at the intersection of the drum and thigh. With 6 sensors on each of the probe, I'll be able to track the internal temperature and the ambient heat very accurately throughout the cooking process. And with a huge turkey like this, you want to take it out a little before 165 Fahrenheit internal, so Typhus Gold makes it very easy to monitor and make sure it comes out tender and juicy. Another huge perk is this durability. The probes can withstand up to 932 Fahrenheit and is waterproof, meaning you don't have to worry even in extreme height heat or accidentally splashed by oil. If you're busy in the kitchen, you'll love the long range connectivity. It has an unobstructed 3,000 feet range. You can monitor and cook across the house and still get accurate reading. The link is in the description below, and use code FUTUREC20 to get 20% off your Typhus Gold Dual if you're ready to make your holiday cooking smoother and stress-free. After about an hour of roasting, we'll take it out, and this is when your mom will tell you to start basting it every 30 minutes or so, but that's totally not enough. It's gonna dry it out. So we have a better and less tiring approach to it, starting with injecting some of the Cajun butter into the breast. I have no idea if it actually makes it more moist. I just like to play doctor.
Here's my secret. I top the turkey with a nice damp buttered up cheesecloth. This gives it so much flavor and makes sure it's moist with that beautiful top.
I ran out of cheesecloth, so I'm gonna put a used piece of paper towel into the Cajun butter, let it soak all over, and just put it on top of the turkey. This feels very maternal. It's like tugging in a baby. Now back into the oven at 350 for about another hour and a half or so till the thermometer reads 155. The bigger the piece of meat, the longer we should rest it, and during that hour of resting, it's gonna go well over 165. Why do I keep emphasizing the required internal temperature for chicken and turkey? You might have noticed I don't usually teach you guys how to cook. I don't feel obligated to, since this is not a real cooking channel and all. Hope you noticed that by this point. But I think the bare minimum I can do on this channel is to prevent both of us from dying. But anyways, what I'm trying to say is cook your birds to 165. I rested it for 2 hours and it's still really hot inside. This is a beautiful looking turkey. I really like the color. I was worried that it got cold, but look how steamy it is. Hot moisture coming out of its legs. Now thanks again to Typhor Sync Gold Dual. Let's carve this turkey up. Check out the juice on this leg. I hate when people squeeze meat on the internet to show how juicy it is, cause you know it all runs off. But I guess you just become the people you dislike. Let's give it a taste and rate it 1 through 10. It's not as tender as I expected, but it's probably the best you get for a turkey breast. Arguably the worst protein on earth. But the Cajun flavor is strong, the butter is very pleasant, so the dark meat is obviously freaking amazing. So I'll give this recipe a 9 out of 10. How to make this recipe even better, you ask? Maybe a fire gravy to go on top of it. Let's check out this lady's easy turkey dripping gravy.
Stick this in the fridge and the fat will solidify, making it easy to separate.
I did let it sit in the fridge overnight. Let's see how easy it is to separate. I think I just launched some turkey fat into space. The best approach here is just to take the entire thing out and scrape off the jus. We're gonna save the roast turkey fat though. I'm gonna use it on other dishes as well. So that was about 3 tablespoons of fat and 2 tablespoons of flour. Usually should be 50-50, but I really don't like thick gravy. It doesn't taste like a sauce, it tastes more like a dough. Once again, I'm pouring hot liquid straight into a plastic container. I do see all the hate comments on that, but it's my channel. I get to be as stupid as I want. Maybe it's a little too thin. There's no flavor needed though, because all the work is done while roasting the turkey. I don't think I'll have it straight up, so let's move on to the next one. While most viral turkey recipes on the internet are pretty much the same, but these two that I picked have very fundamentally different approaches to it. Last one we did a dry brine with just salt. This time we're making a wet brine with water, and what the hell is this? This is a brand new head of onion, I promise you. Besides that, in orange we'll also add some garlic, oregano, thyme, rosemary, and parsley. It's not over yet. Bay leaf, salt, peppercorn, sugar. I'm running a little low on brown sugar, so I'm using maple syrup. This is everything in the pot. It feels like I'm about to summon a demon or something. We'll put it on high heat, enough water to cover it, and let it come to a simmer and turn off the heat immediately. Before we brine the turkey in there, we need to make sure the water is completely cooled. We don't want to boil anything here. We used a young turkey earlier because of the size of my pot. We're going to use a younger turkey. We'll just drop it straight in, stuff some aromatics into it. When it brines in the water overnight, the osmosis is going to impose a lot of water into it, seasoning at the same time making meat more tender. Supposedly. I highly doubt that. But anyways, our job is to follow instructions, so we'll cover it and rest overnight. It's now the next day. We'll take the turkey out of the water and set it aside. I guess the onions and stuff used in the brine is gonna be stuffed into the chicken. I don't have another onion since we got a cursed one earlier. Once again, we're back to making an herb butter, same as before: oregano, thyme, parsley, and rosemary. But Tina also adds the addition of chives. I'm sure if you check out our original video, you'll notice both of them use sage and tarragon. But don't hate on me too hard. You should be glad I'm not throwing weed into this. To the butter, we're also gonna get zesty with 1 lemon and the juice as well. Don't forget to season it with salt and pepper though. We'll blend it to soften it and add in the herbs. The lemon juice is reluctant to mix into the butter, so it makes the whole thing super slippery. It's not even sticking to the side of the bowl. How am I supposed to mix it thoroughly? I guess this is what I get for never softening the butter in advance. This recipe doesn't require us to stuff anything under the skin because we're putting everything on top, but I don't know why the surface is just so slippery. The butter refused to stay on top of it. It just starts falling off, like my channel. But to combat that, we're gonna flavor this turkey with the fat drippings from the previous turkey, employing the age-old strategy of if you can't oil them up, you probe them. It's really crazy how much work you have to put in just to make a bland protein taste more like beef. Anyways, I laid some more butter on top, 350 for 50 minutes first. Make sure you use the best thermometer, Typhusync Gold Duo. As I forgot here. After 45, we'll do our second round of injecting the shit out of it back into the oven for another 30 minutes. This time we'll put in our thermometer. Looks like it's almost done. Where are all these juice coming from, yo? This turkey significantly looks worse than the last one. It looks like it went to the beach and forgot to turn around. Let's cut into the breast and see if the injection method is better than the cheesecloth. The breast looks a lot more granular, but maybe it's just because the difference of species. I think overall for roasting, dry brine is much better, a lot more mild reaction and flavor. After wet brining protein, I feel like it soaks up too much water and it comes out during the roasting process. Wet brining saves space because you can put everything in a bucket, so I think old-fashioned restaurants still do that. But at home, we should just dry brine everything. Teeny's recipe, 10 out of 10. My execution on this turkey, 7 out of 10. We first heard about Teeny from her famous 100 million views mac and cheese recipe. Since we already dedicated a video to that, we're not going to try it again. So today let's give Mori Bien's Thanksgiving mac and cheese a try. She's the first food TikToker I've ever followed because I think she's super pretty, but most importantly, her recipes are fire.
We're going to use sharp cheddar, Kobe Jack, and smoked Gouda, and yes, you have to grate it yourself. It's kind of an arm workout.
We're going to use sharp cheddar, Kobe Jack, and smoked Gouda. I'm not going to grate it myself. I don't need no arm workout. I've actually never had smoked Gouda, so let's give it a taste real quick. As you expected, I'm gonna say, it's pretty good. I don't really get why would we ever shred cheese ourselves unless we have to. Shredding is a premise indicating you're about to put in a sauce or top of the baking dish to broil. Once the cheese is cooked, I really don't think anybody can tell if it's pre-shredded or freshly shredded. In the ugly, hard to use, refusing to sponsor me caraway pan, we'll put in an equal amount of butter and flour to make a roux. In the video, she uses half and half, so we'll use a little bit of heavy cream and some milk. We basically just want a thick binding sauce. Don't make it too thick though, so we're about to add in almost 2 pounds of cheese. It doesn't have to be perfectly smooth because we're baking it later, everything's gonna come together. After mixing into the macaroni, we'll top a layer of cheddar. Max broil till the surface is crispy like this. I just discovered that smoked Gouda works the best in the bechamel sauce and sharp cheddar works the best as the top layer. This is totally my type of recipe. We made it pretty much in one pot, just cheese and carbs, nothing else. And it tastes amazing. 9.2 out of 10. What made America great in the first place is actually corn. So on the Thanksgiving table, we have to have cornbread. This recipe is from a girl, Tony Chapman again. Honey butter cornbread, looking amazing. But man, this is bothering me. Okay, I'm gonna tilt it for her. Is this leveled? Starting with 2 cups of yellow cornmeal. I did try masa earlier and it did not work well. 2 cups of flour, 1 cup of sugar, 2 tablespoons of baking soda, and 1 teaspoon of salt. Moving on to the wet ingredients. 2 cups of milk, half a cup of oil. That's weird. 2 eggs. This is what she said her secret is.
Add in my secret ingredient, which is a can of cream corn. Stay with me. Trust me. This is my secret ingredient.
It's cornbread, so I feel like creamed corn really makes sense here. She said it like it's gonna be something crazy, like we're about to put ketchup in it or something. The amount of stupid ingredients I've used on this channel, I've never offered any explanation. Mostly because there is none. But anyways, this cornbread batter looking nice. Once we whisk in the egg and the cream corn, we'll combine the dry and wet ingredients. As I'm mixing this, I realized at the end, I can't really tell if the lumps are flour or just cream corn. So if you make this at home, maybe don't add the cream corn till the very end. We'll ladle the batter into the mold so they can be nice little muffins. Bake them at 375 for 45 minutes. Halfway through the baking process, we're gonna brush on some honey butter. Doesn't really require any explanation, but honey is expensive, so I'm gonna replace it with some maple syrup. Painting honey butter on cornbread is so therapeutic. Smells like the preface to a dramatic family conflict. We'll put that back in there. Once it finishes baking, we're gonna put more on top. Nice, warm, freshly baked cornbread. And it's medium rare. As always, I'm one of those people that only eats the top of muffins, so let's give it a taste and rate 1 through 10. When you make it bake for at least 30 minutes, but medium rare cornbread is gonna be a thing. Back in the duck fat video, we also loved the medium rare donut. Maybe we should do a video tasting and rating all the raw batter of desserts and see which one is the best. Give me some suggestions in the comments. Don't just say cookie dough. Where are your vegetables, future canoe? You might be asking right now. Comment right up. The next recipe, the first step is to prepare some candied bacon. On a wired sheet rack, we're gonna sprinkle brown sugar and pepper all over some bacon and put it in the oven at 400 for 5 minutes. After 5 minutes, we'll turn them and put on more brown sugar. I'm a little low on it, so I'm using maple syrup. In the end, they should be crispy and caramelized just like this. It's gonna be a recipe from Max the Meat Guy, and the video looks awesome. Let's take a look. That's definitely the best candied yam I've ever seen in my life. We'll wrap them up, put it in a 400 Fahrenheit oven for about 45 minutes. I just keep forgetting how good a roast sweet potato is. Thanks to GMO, it's sweeter than ever. Once you can easily pierce through them, we'll scoop them out and put it in a separate bowl with some butter, brown sugar, orange juice, and cinnamon. I don't have those, so I'm using maple syrup. We'll carefully lay down each one upright so they all stand uniformly. Actually, I give up, just pile them. And I don't really want to wait for it to broil, so we're just gonna torch it. How close does it look to the original? So pretty much only 3 components on here, but I like all of them. Let's give it a taste and rate 1 through 10. This is stimulating dopamine in a really interesting way. Doesn't feel like I'm eating a dessert, it feels like I'm eating like a whole meal, but it's much more satisfying than a traditional candied yam for sure. So I'll give it an 8 out of 10, highly recommend. Our next recipe involves actual vegetables like asparagus. Even though skepticism is my default state of mind, but every time after I eat it, I go, it does smell weird. This recipe is from our boy Jose, and no way he said this at the beginning of the video.
We're gonna put grandma in a wheelchair this year with my bacon and puff pastry wrapped asparagus.
My grandma's already in a wheelchair, so my objective is pretty singular. But I don't think the process of making these needs that much explanation. You just wrap everything around the asparagus and you bake it. You do want to cut the bacon in half though, otherwise it's gonna be too large. After doing the same wrapping process with bacon, we'll brush with egg wash into a 375-degree oven for 20 minutes. I didn't put any oil on the foil because our ingredients are literally 80% fat, but I feel like it's not really my fault, must be the foils. Everything's amazing besides the asparagus, so I'll give it a 6.6666 out of 10. You might be asking at this point, Future Canoe, what do you contribute every year to Thanksgiving? Well, besides disappointment, I actually put a lot of effort into the potatoes. We have to use Yukon Gold because it doesn't have that dirt flavor that russet has. We'll cut and cover with water, season it a little bit, and boil with the lid on. Here's the complicated step. When you can easily pierce through them, we'll run all of them through a tamis just to remove any unpleasurable mouthfeel. In my experience, spatula doesn't really work. You either want to use a spoon or a plastic bench scraper like this. And another thing is you only want to go a couple pieces at a time. Having too much at once is going to spill and it's going to take you forever. We're gonna put it into a non-stick pot because it's gone cold now. We're gonna heat it up. About 6 tablespoons of softened butter, salt, and 1/4 cup of milk. You have to heat it up. Cold milk is gonna break the structure. And we're gonna keep whipping it till it slowly falls off the spatula like that. And you can adjust the consistency by adding more hot cream or milk. I want to give this a perfect score, but I'm obviously biased towards my own recipe, so I'm not gonna rate it this time. This next recipe, I'm gonna name it Future Canoe Going Insane. Starting off with butchering and breaking down another young frozen turkey, which is the premise to my rapper name. We're only gonna deal with the thigh for the video, so we're gonna salt all over and brine overnight. This is gonna make it drier, hence safer for what's gonna happen next. We played with non-Newtonian fluid the other day and I had a lot of fun, so we're gonna make it again. Starting with 2 cups of potato starch and 1 cup of water. Continue stirring it until it becomes like a like yogurt, and then we'll take the salted turkey leg and drop into this batter. In the dry brine process, you can flavor it with whatever spices you want. I mean, not that I expect you to make this or anything else on my channel though. And then you guessed it, drop it into 355-degree oil. Because of the large size, the temperature of the oil is going to drop to about 375. That's fine. It's going to take a while to cook it anyways. We'll leave it in there for like 8 minutes. The non-Newtonian fluid is going to completely stick to the pan at first, but once it cooks, it's going to release it. Before we do the flipping though, we're going to add some more batter to the top because it's been running out. I'm basting to speed up the cooking process, but why does it look like it caught some type of infection? So this is what they mean when they say motion of the ocean. It's been almost 30 minutes, the internal temperature finally hit 159. My face is getting super oily, so we're just gonna take it out and let it come up to temp. Here's the rest of my plan. We're gonna simmer down a General Tso's sauce to cover the exterior, which is just equal parts sugar and vinegar, a little bit of soy sauce for color, some ketchup, and a splash of lemon juice at the end. When it reduces to thick, we'll set aside. Look at this giant deep fried turkey leg. This side's not really pretty. Let me change the side. This side's not really pretty either. Alright, let me cover it with sauce then. Doesn't look that much better after the sauce. Now it just looks like the infection is at its worst. Those were some satisfying bites. It's like Korean fried chicken on steroids. I think I told you before, but I'm a big fan of the gaminess of turkey. And I think this is much better than the traditional deep fried turkey that causes explosions and stuff. So I'm gonna give it a 5 out of 10. Anyways, I'm particularly excited for this Thanksgiving because a lot of things in my personal life are not going my way this year. As a lot of you know, I'm applying to schools right now, and this application season has not been my friend. Feeling more anxious about the future than usual. Exactly the time to replace the fear of future uncertainties with the gratitude for present blessings. That's what Thanksgiving is going to be about for me this year, and I hope the same for you. When you're able to find things to be grateful for, your world lights up a little bit. And no matter where I end up in a year or so, I'll still hang out with all of you here, possibly with better lighting though. Alright, thank you.